Hi, I am Phil Crocker and welcome to our 7th video looking at how we can play better Blitz. On this one we're going to be looking at how we can review our speed of play. Just as a recap, these are the previous 6 videos we looked at, trying to find ways to speed up our play. The last one we looked at reviewing the moves we played. This one we're going to look at a little bit differently and look at how quickly we played. So it is possible to review the time you've used within individual games on Lichess or chess.com. You can see that information. On Lichess it's also possible to mass download many of your games, which will include the time data if you have a way of then analysing them. What we'll look at more on this video though is that Lichess has a neat insights functionality which enables you to do some analysis of your performance within the platform. Before we get into that, I wanted to show you a reaction time test. So one of the drivers of success at Blitz is how young you are or how old you are, and if I just bring up the internet page for a reaction time test, let's see how that works. So this is, I've searched on Just Park reaction time test. I'm now going to click on that. How old are you, your reactions? So we're going to click on that. In a moment you'll start driving. When you see the red stop sign, click or press any key to stop, and they're going to guess our age. So we'll start this, and I'm getting ready to press the mouse. Right, 44-year-old. Well, that's actually nearly a decade younger than I am. I did have a practice go right just before I recorded, so maybe that's explaining why I'm coming across so young. So this is what I wanted to show though, is they look at age on the horizontal axis, reaction time on the vertical axis, and they're saying basically I've taken just over half a second to react, and that puts my age at 44. If I was a little bit younger, shall we say, I think they only go down to 18, then I might be saying 0.3 of a second. And we do have some people in my Chester club who are something around this age. Then if you're say in your mid 70s, then you're 0.85 seconds, and as you get into your 80s then you're pretty much at a second reaction time. So playing bullet probably isn't the smartest thing at that age, right? But it also means that you can't effectively play Blitz quite as quickly. Now you may be able to somewhat overcome these reactions by anticipating your opponent's move, having a move ready to go. So it's not absolutely set in stone that it's going to take you 0.9 seconds per move minimum if you're age 78, but you're certainly operating at a disadvantage. Okay, so I've pulled up Lichess and I'm going to show you how their chess insights functionality works. I'm going to hover over and click over my name, click on profile, and then you'll see this area here, Chess Insights, analytics from your games. So you click on that, and what you have here is quite a powerful tool for analysing your performance. You'll see certain questions down the side. On the left hand side, do I gain more rating points against weaker or stronger opponents? Do I gain rating when I don't castle kingside? A whole number of questions you could go off. You can also filter here, so you can include certain date ranges, certain openings, certain variants, choose the type of chess you're playing, and then you can also here vary the factors used. So if you use something like a pivot table in Excel, it's a little bit similar to this, or a database functionality. You can choose fields that you want to graph one against the other. So the default one it's showing here is my performance by variant of chess, and it's showing in blue the average centre pawn loss. So it's saying basically at Blitz I'm losing 46 centre pawns, so nearly half a pawn per move. Bullet, nearly 0.6 pawns per move. Ultra bullet, close to 1.5 pawns per move. And slightly oddly to me, it's saying that at classical, I'm only slightly better at classical than I am at rapid or blitz. Even corresponds nearly a third of, or just over a quarter of a pawn loss per move. So thinking is potentially overrated. And then there's things like anti-chess, which I probably don't even fully understand the rules, where I'm definitely losing quite a bit there. But what I wanted to do though was to change this. So average centre pawn loss is of interest, but let's put it on, say, move time. And the system will then do that analysis, and then you can see different bands of move time on the horizontal axis, so 0 to 1 second, 1 to 3 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds, and so on, more than 30 seconds. And 0 to 1 second might seem slightly odd, but the centre pawn loss there is actually less than for the longer thinking times. And so at one level you could say, well, that proves that the longer you think, the worse the move, but the causality almost certainly runs the other way, so that you are moving quickly because you're pretty confident of the move. Maybe it's a known opening move or a simple endgame move. So there are a whole heap of different ways you can cut the data, right? So have a play around with that. And what I'll do next is show you some data which I've pulled from this analysis here, exported into Excel, and then pieced together and summarized for different players. Just before we look at that analysis, I'll just show you quickly that there is slightly similar functionality on chess.com. So if you go to Learn and then Insights, that will give you for yourself, and then there's also featured insights. You can choose some other players. It'll give you, I'll just scroll quickly through some stats on the games you've played, accuracy by move number, opponent rating, how you won or lost games, some characterizations of games, giveaway, sudden, etc. Different phases, opening, middle game, end game. Quite a bit of information you can drill into here, different openings. Mastery, the number of book moves you knew. And then certain tactics, so forks, found versus missed. So looks like I found 93.8% of forks with a pawn, but I missed 6.2%. But with a knight, I missed like a third of those forks. So I mean, there's a whole heap of information you can look at there, right? So just as a recap, in the introductory video we outlined a plan for how you might use your time in a 3-minute no increment game. Basically a second per move in the opening, 5 seconds per move in the middle game on average, and then speeding up for the end game with a little bit of contingency. So one of the things I did was use the insights data, also just some downloadable information on Lichess, and looked at some players and how they performed. So this is all described in my book, Better Chess Faster, but there's some excerpts here, and what you have down the left hand side is various players, some grandmasters at the top, and then some, let's say, keen amateurs following them. And I've also put the average of all those players in bold, and a baseline information from that slide we just looked at. So background information on the players, ratings and so on, and then I've shown the seconds per move for moves 1 to 30, split into moves 1 to 10, 11 to 20, and 21 to 30. So you can look at the timings and how close people are to the baseline. So if we look at, for example, the first 10 moves, then I had quite an ambitious baseline of 10 seconds, and essentially virtually nobody has achieved that. So the average was 16 seconds for the 10 moves. Only Grandmaster Keith Arkle and Grandmaster Tang really hit that level. But for the moves 11 to 20 and 21 to 30, baseline was 50 seconds and players are hitting 38, 40 seconds. It feels like it ballpark. The baseline is kind of okay. So this was specifically for 3-minute games, right? So this isn't actually from the Insights data. This is from some downloads I made myself of purely 3-minute games for these players. If you look at Insights data, which includes all Blitz games, which I filtered on Blitz, but will include some slower Blitz games in some cases, then you can look at the reports you can get off the Insights. So you may recognize this: moves played in 0 to 1 seconds, 1 to 3 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds, and so on, greater than 5 seconds. And I pulled that for most of the players we saw on the previous slide who've made this information publicly available, or at least for my investigations. And here you'll see the absolute outlier, very, very fast player, Grandmaster Tang, who is an ultra bullet king, if you like, plays 54% of his moves in less than a second. None of the amateurs really hit much over 20%, and many considerably less than that. The average error, though, centipawns is 37 centipawns for the Grandmaster. It's actually less for the amateurs, but the Grandmaster's played over half the moves in that time, so it's an absolute speed performance. And then if you look at when people spend more time, then typically the centipawn loss is higher, and as we said before, that's really because the decisions are that much more difficult. So that's one way of looking at it. Another pre-canned report you can get from the Insights data is split opening, middle game, and ending. And again, you can see the move times. Grandmaster Tang 1.2 seconds for the opening, slightly slower, 3 seconds for the middle game, but way quicker than the other players. So you can pull this data for yourself and see how you compare to benchmarks like these. You can also look at, this is another canned report you can get from the Insights data. You can set it up to give the reason for the game ended, so whether it was time, resignation, checkmate, draw, stalemate, disconnect. And you can look through this and you can use the data to try and identify areas where you might change. So, for example, my good friend Liflitz from the Lurach club, when I look at this, I've highlighted the resignation 71%. So Liflitz is a very dangerous player, but I do wonder if he's resigning a little too eagerly. So you can go through and you can pick out questions. So for myself, I'd highlighted the stalemate figure of 5% as something of interest, quite a bit different, say, from Steve at 15%. So you can kind of dig into these and see if there's areas that you might be able to improve. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Quite a lot of technical data there, but it's really just to give you a flavour of the sort of analysis you could do if you're interested in and how you could go about that. If you have comments, questions, please post them. If you like the video, please give it a like or even subscribe to the channel. And finally, you could always consider buying my book, Better Chess Faster, which you can find on Amazon. So hopefully see you for the next video.